The Arizona Wildcats escape a bloodbath with the UCLA Bruins out in LA. And we're going to talk about that game from Anthony Dell'Orso and Mo Krivas, Mo Buckets, and a lot more here on the AZ Wildcats post-game pod, UCLA Victory Edition. Join us in 30 seconds. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. Had to cook up a little bit something special for the people, Kevin, because this was a massive W for the Arizona Wildcats, for Tommy Lloyd, for Jaden Bradely, and of course, L for our bitter rivals, the UCLA Bruins. Arizona wins 69-65 over UCLA. I am Damon Fairall. He is Kevin Thomas. We are the AZ Wildcats pod, bringing you post-game coverage after a pregame show, after a watch-along, now going into a post-game show. And Kevin, we're just too fired up. We can't quit it. We could do this all night long. Probably just parlay 24-hour stream into Arizona football tomorrow. Who says no? I'm so fired up. Anytime Arizona beats UCLA, you get this feeling. How are you doing, my guy? How are we living? And I know as someone who maybe it might be the most fired up about Arizona basketball of any human on earth, you must be, hardly being able to sit back there, Kevin.
You got a W against a team that their mission was to make it a nasty slugfest with you. And you did it without your best from Koa Peat.
Yep.
You did it without your best in long stretches from Jaden Bradely. You did it without really anything from Brayden Burries, and we're going to get to that. He did play better defensively tonight. Do want to give him credit for that. You did it without Ivan Karchenkov scoring in double digits. You did it without, Tobe Awaka having an incredible game scoring the ball. He got 10 rebounds. Overall, Arizona won this messy, disgusting UCLA basketball game and escaped undefeated, and the freshmen escaped with not only experience, but a win to curtail it. There's a lot of criticisms and critiques that we're going to get to in this postgame about this game because it was not perfect at all. But I think first and foremost, we got to be happy that they escaped LA. Also, it's in LA, just 14 miles from UCLA's home arena with a victory. This is a big game for Arizona this year. We're going to talk about it later, something I wanted to talk about with Arizona being battle-tested and the type of coaches that they're going against. This is not just your regular ragtag non-conference set of coaches. Arizona's going up against chess masters and guys that really want to make it hard on you. And I think we saw that with the freshmen tonight specifically. So overall, Damon, I'm pumped that Arizona put up 69 nice points and got away with a W because it felt like down the stretch with about 7 to 5 minutes left that it was kind of starting to slip away from the Wildcats, and they regained control. JB took over in the end, and honestly, I don't know. I mean, outside of everybody showing up, it felt like this was a really, really strong win because you got to see some fight from this team. You got to see what it was like when they've been beat up and their backs are kind of against the wall on the road.
Yeah.
I'm not fully thrilled with this win, obviously, because it wasn't perfect, but you're never going to get perfect, especially against UCLA and Mick Cronin, and Arizona escaping this year when they did not escape last year. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I listen, we'll talk about the negatives and we'll get into some good basketball discussion, especially when our guy Saul Bookman joins the show from Los Angeles. But I think first off in segment one, obviously it's just about the W. It's just about the win over your most bitter rival, the team that you hate the most, that you least want to lose to, and against the coach that, frankly, you least want to lose to, right? And so I think in this first segment, as much as, I'm Mr. Negative and everybody point at Damon and say, what a bad guy.
Bad guy.
I want to take this time and say, let's talk about the positive things in this game starting off with, you mentioned it, Jaden Bradely taking over this basketball game, Kevin. He was not having a good game by any stretch of the imagination, especially not for Jaden Bradley standard. But he ends the night shooting 6 of 10, Kevin, which is unbelievable. He was 1 of 5. He was 1 of 5, and with halfway through the second half, he finishes 6 of 10. I mean, wow! Like, just makes all of his remaining shots to end the game. Shows up when you need him to. 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Only 1 foul from JB tonight. Only 1 turnover. 15 points scored overall. What an absolute performance by your captain. Arizona basketball tweeted it from the account saying, like, what a gutsy win. I think that's the perfect encapsulation of what the W was today. And no one exemplifies gutsy better than Jaden Bradely, who was very much struggling in this game. Felt like every time he touched the ball, there was like a Great Wall of China blockade in the paint around it.
Yeah,
you know
they were
what
packing
I mean?
the paint real
Like,
bad.
it felt
Yeah.
like he would bounce off defenders and go straight back out to the perimeter. At the end of the game, he just started doing whatever he wanted to, move into the basket at will. And of course, hits a wide open 3-pointer that was a dagger in its own right. Jaden Bradely, what more can you say about the guy? Absolute captain, absolute leader. And you want to talk about a gutsy performance, the gutsiest of performances from your leader.
How many did JB have tonight?
He had 15, Kevin.
That means he is just 5 points away, Damon, from 1,000 career points for Jaden Bradely.
Special.
I wanted to bring that up. He is likely to get that in Arizona's next game. So shout out to JB, a true leader on and off the court. And I think you saw it was kind of giving me Clemson vibes in some ways from individually Jaden Bradley's performance of just willing a team into a game.
Yeah.
Right when they needed you most, just saying, you know what, to hell with all this going on right now, to hell with the momentum of this game and UCLA's play style. I'm getting downhill. I'm getting my team points, whether it's at the bucket or it's at the free throw line, and we're getting ourselves back into this game, and we're winning this game. When you have a team that is so heavily reliant on freshmen, Damon, you need a leader like Jaden Bradely. You need a senior like Anthony Dell'Orso. You need guys who, in the moments where you need them, are willing to step up and say, all right, enough. I'm taking over for a second. You kids can have the ball back when I'm done with it. But for now, it's my ball, it's my game, and I'm taking over, and we're going to go home with a win. And, extremely happy that Jaden Bradely is on our team, Damon, because tonight was a great example of why a lot of people looked at him as a guy that is underrated this year, underappreciated, for a guy stepping up in usage, up in responsibility with the departure of Caleb Love. I'm thrilled with what I've seen so far this year from Jaden Bradely. Although he did not have a perfect game in this one, he was perfect when you needed him most. And I'd argue, I don't give a damn what happened in the first half. He helped you win this game when it mattered most.
I mean, Kevin, if you're going to make your last 5 shots of the basketball game, it's hard for me to be upset with you.
And still finish on good efficiency.
Dude, he finished at 6 of 10 shooting. Yeah. Like, he ended up having a really good game and was, for most of the watch along, me and Kevin are sitting there saying we need more out of Jaden Bradely. And then at the end, just complete takeover mode. Kevin, I mean, I know I hate to, toot my own horn. Of course, this is the most humble podcast here on PHNX Sports. One of the most humble podcasts in America. But how about that Donovan Dent absolute disaster class tonight from everybody watching? Hashtag what's that smell? 5 for 16 shooting. Of course, 1 for 1 from the line on a egregious and 1 call where the refs, were clearly just trying to get him in the game, get him in the flow of the game. Had 8 assists, Kevin. Only had 3 turnovers at the end of the game, which he all had early in the game as well. But I didn't think Donovan Dent looked good tonight. I thought at the end of the game, I wanted him to shoot the basketball, whereas Jaden Bradely, conversely, UCLA fans are cowering in fear at the thought of him shooting another shot, saying, give the ball to Brayden Burries. Yeah. Don't let this guy take the shot. He's nails. I predicted before the game Jaden Bradely was going to outplay Donovan Dent tonight. It looked bad for a second. Not because Donovan Dent was hooping, but because Jaden Bradely was very much not. And then Jaden Bradely just said, okay, cool. We're getting the W. I'm going to be the reason for it. And I think he ultimately played Donovan Dent. So again, not to say, you know, I know ball, but just putting it out there for the people, just in case they're curious.
Donovan Dent with the quietest 8 assists in human history.
100%.
Not only that, but his backcourt partner, Sky Clark, didn't really give him much backup. 3 for 11, 1 for 4 from 3. Sky Clark, the floppy hair.
Beats me.
He's continuing the floppy hair lineage at UCLA.
I'm just kidding. I love doing that joke, though.
Trent Perry gave you nothing. Practically doing cardio out there. And I don't really say that lightly. I'm saying he took one shot, made it, shot 2 free throws, made one of them, had 2 rebounds, and 1 personal foul in 18 minutes. I mean, he was out there doing cardio. And I think when you're talking about Donovan Dent, he's going to look best for UCLA when his backcourt members are on fire and the defense can kind of look off of Donovan Dent and kind of fall asleep on him for a second, and he can really take advantage. He's a decent player. He's not really the best point guard that the Lord's earth has ever seen, like some preseason lists were trying to tell you that Mick Cronin went and got himself. But yeah, tonight was not a good night for Donnie, as they call him out there in
Do they actually call him
UCLA.
that?
Yeah, they call him Donnie.
Nice.
I was watching some Mick Cronin pressers before the game, and they were like, "How's Donnie?" He's like, "Donnie's doing good. Donnie's going to play Friday." Donnie did not have a good night tonight.
It's just Lost Highway is right. Love that floater. He tried to throw over Krivas like he's still at New Mexico. The 7'2" guys in the Mountain West are the biggest of oafs you've ever seen in your life. Mo Krivas is blocking shots like it's nobody's business recently, and you just can't try stuff like that. He looked like a Mountain West player with Bradley on him, says Jesse King. Donovan Dent stinks. Bill wants to know, Zabian Lee versus Donovan Dent. Who am I taking? I think I'm taking Donovan Dent for sure. And I think that's because I think the Donovan Dent role on a UCLA team is a little bit of a tough job because you're being tasked with being so much of the offensive firepower, right? That's why you're at UCLA. Zabian Lee, on the other hand, is like a key cog in a otherwise extremely talented team. And I think that guy can't defend. That guy is just not going to be a SEC caliber basketball player. Donovan Dent is going to be really good in the Big Ten. I just don't think he's better than Jaden Bradely, and every list that had him above Jaden Bradely was an absolute joke, unmitigated disaster. Like the idea that guys like Yaxel Lendenberg and Jaden and Donovan Dent were just going to walk into major power conferences and dominate in the exact same fashion was ridiculous. And we saw it again tonight. We saw it with Zabian Lee. We saw it with Donovan Dent. Stop playing with Jaden Bradely. Please. Stop playing with them.
Let him know, Damon, dog. Preach the good gospel. Have you heard? Are you willing to welcome the good gospel of Jaden Bradely into your life? We're opening up a new church of disciples. We have the Koa Peat, crazies, and now we got the Jaden Bradely disciples. But I think you're right? This is Jaden Bradely is on that payback tour. He's on that revenge tour. I should put out that graphic that I made from Mikhail Madness from Beat, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I made a fun little graphic of Jaden Bradely in his payback mode this season. Shout out to that movie if you know. But this matchup tonight, Damon, Jaden Bradely once again showed why he was underrated. Once again showed why he was handed the keys to one of the most premier programs in the country.
The premier program on the West Coast, I will have you know.
Certainly the premier program on the West Coast.
Fact, proven tonight. Wear it across the chest, championship belt, best in the West.
And we're talking about senior leadership on this team. We're talking about guys that really helped you. And I said earlier, the freshmen on this team have never played against UCLA. The freshmen on this team have never understood what it's been like to feel a Mick Cronin team, right? To have your entire bag taken away from you because they're playing the toughest basketball of any team on the West Coast physically, right? They're just playing tough. They're hand checking. They're pushing with both arms, right?
Yeah,
and Brayden Burries is looking around like, what? You can't do that. Well, you can when you're playing UCLA, and you're going to learn, and now you know, right? And that's why it was so important that you escaped with a win, because they got that valuable experience and did not get punished for it. But guys like Jaden Bradely, guys like our king of the court tonight, Anthony Dell'Orso. What performance. There was no one else that could have possibly deserved this award. I mean, what else do we need to say? But the stats speak for themselves. 20 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Deli was shooting it from San Bernardino to San Diego tonight. It was all over, and he was draining them all. Anthony Dell'Orso, what a performance. Really, really silenced the haters this time. If Anthony Dell'Orso had any more haters in the fan base, they were dwindling, but there better be none after this one. I was one of them last year. I was a hater. I was an Anthony Dell'Orso hater last year.
You were.
He turned me around in the offseason. I bought in the offseason to my own credit, and he has paid me dividends and then some to start this year. His facilitating has been better. His on-ball creation has been better. His defense has been better. His shooting range has increased. When he said that to us during media day when we interviewed him, I understood it. I heard him, but I wanted to see it. And he's been incredible, Damon, to the point where people are saying maybe Tommy spoke too soon putting Karchenkov in the starting lineup. I won't go that far. I think Deli is thriving in his role right now, fighting for that job. You have a hungry, starving Anthony Dell'Orso right now, and you want to harness that. You want to bottle it up and let it. You don't want to let that out the bottle too soon. He's hungry right now, and you're seeing it. And I think that he's in his role right now, like KJ Lewis was in his role last year. Some people play better when their backs are against the wall, when they need something to fight for. And Anthony Dell'Orso is clearly one of those. Shout out to our Aussie friend, Anthony Dell'Orso. Damon, what was your thoughts on his performance tonight?
Yeah, shout out Anthony Dell'Orso. And also I want to just say before we go any further, shout out our friends over at Branded Bills, who are, of course, presenting this post-game show. Branded Bills, the premium headwear and apparel in the game. We got a promo code for you. It's BBPHNX. It's going to get you 15% off your first purchase. Anthony Dell'Orso's performance tonight, Kevin, I'm just going to say it. It's sponsored by our friends over at Branded Bills. Because he was looking fresh out there. So, of course.
And he was elevating his brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely elevating his brand. The Delhi Australian basketball player brand has never been stronger. It's stronger right now, I'd argue, than after the 2016 NBA Finals. Ooh. But of course, Anthony Dell'Orso on the season, Kevin, 11.3 points per game, 2.3 rebounds, 3.0 assists. I don't even know if that factors in this most recent game. I really don't. No, it doesn't. So all of those averages are about to go up. He's going to be sitting around 13, 14 points per game on the season. And you brought up an interesting point in regards to people saying did Tommy jump the gun a little bit, trusting in Karchenkov over Anthony Dell'Orso, who started last season. And I think that there was a lot of comparisons made to maybe like a Carter Bryant, that situation last year, how Trey Townsend started for majority of the season, despite clearly not being as good of a basketball player, or as talented at least as Carter Bryant, who was a lottery pick, as Trey Townsend, is no offense to him, but one of the biggest misses in terms of transfers that probably Arizona basketball has ever had, if not the biggest.
Yeah, shout out to him. He's playing overseas.
Yeah,
but
he's
you're
a good
right.
Dude,
that was a whiff. That was a hard whiff. He stunk.
You missed on how good you thought Trey Townsend was going to be. And because of that, all season last year, I think you wore the effects of, like, should Carter be in the starting lineup?
Yeah.
And it has since scarred me, Kevin, where now I'm sitting up here and I'm going, I want the 5 best players to start.
Yeah.
I want the 5 best players to start. And now I know the closing lineup matters more than the starters. So don't try to teach me about basketball. I get it. The closing lineup is ultimately what matters. Anthony Dell'Orso is in it. But I'm definitely, like, scarred from last season being like, I don't know, man. I know it's separate. It's different now where it's not the more talented freshman over the more seasoned veteran. It's the opposite. But at the same time, it's like my method stays the same. I want the best basketball players on the floor at the most opportune times. And honestly, with how Ivan Karchenkov started off this game today, we can't have that going forward. And he did figure it out. He did play some quality minutes later in the second half. And, it's good to see Tommy letting guys work through that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you can't get down in games against Florida, against UCLA, and just make that a habit consistently against every good team you play. Eventually, Kevin, when it reaches tournament time, that's how your season ends, right then and there. So that's why I'm like, is it time to start a discussion? Is it time to have a dialogue in regards to that position? I understand that you can't really make a change when you're undefeated. So don't make a change. I get it.
Do not.
But it is just an interesting topic. Should Anthony Dell'Orso be the starter? What say you?
I mean,
is what it is.
My heart of hearts is that I really don't feel any type of way about that situation. If Dell'Orso's going to play the way he's playing right now, keep doing what you're doing. It's clearly working. Whatever mental stuff is going on, it's working. He's motivated. He's doing his best right now. And Karchenkov is a freshman, and I think he's going to have moments like tonight where he looks like a freshman, and then he's going to have moments where in his debut against the defending national champions, he drops 12 and 10, a double-double, and you're like, what is this absolute revelation of a player that is Ivan Karchenkov? And you bring up his first half, and I think now let me finish and hear me out when I say this, because I'm with you that it was a bad first half from Ivan Karchenkov. I think he would admit so much as himself, as the player. He only played 5 minutes in the first half, Damon, and I think it's because he did not play so well. He had 2 turnovers, 1 personal foul, over 1 from the field, and it was a 3. So, I mean, Tommy Lloyd didn't really give him the chance to cost Arizona too much in that first half, more than he did. But then in the second half, clearly there was some sort of conversation about playing better from Ivan Karchenkov in the second half because he doubled his minutes practically to 9 minutes, scored his only shot of the half, which was a field goal, and then he hit one of his 2 free throws, 2 rebounds, 2 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, reading the wrong line there. No turnovers, no personal fouls, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 points from Ivan Karchenkov in the second half of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think the impact that he had in the second half, jumping on loose balls, running in transition, trying to find guys in transition, but if they're not there, just taking it himself. You talk about, like, on the watch-along, Arizona playing Arizona basketball. That's Ivan Karchenkov playing Ivan Karchenkov basketball in the second half, right? And I think that is going to be a process for all these freshmen throughout the year. And we're going to get to Brayden Burries later. We're going to get to, Koa Peat and all that stuff later. But I think you're going to see games where they look awesome, and then you're going to see games where they're still trying to figure out what they can do in college, how much of their bag is available to them on a game-in, game-out basis. So, I'm not too worried about the starting lineup. I think Tommy has it figured out for right now. I like what this rotation is. Krivas is giving you a lot more game-in and game-out. He's improving. Burries Muse, I think it was, on Twitter, our friend of the program, brought up Krivas, I believe the stat was he's played like less minutes in college than even Carter Bryant did or something like that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, but it's kind of unbelievable when you think about the responsibility and the weight that's on his shoulder as a guy that needs to come in, impact right now. It's now or never, Krivas. But I think he's kind of really easing into the role. He's playing a lot better. A lot of the things we were criticizing him on at points this year, he's kind of figuring it out as time goes on. He's really coming through for you in these big games. I really don't care what he does against NAU. I don't care if he looks soft against NAU. That was not the case. He balled out against NAU. But I don't care if he looks, slow against some of these other teams, Utah Tech. Because he's coming through for you against Florida. He's came through for you against UCLA. And I have faith he will continue to impact winning against these Big 12 teams. So if he can keep cooking, I'm not wanting to see any switch with him and Tobe Awaka. I think Tobe's cool, doing what he's doing, getting you damn near 10 and 10 every night. I'm not too worried about messing around with the starting lineup right now. I know they were talking about that on McHale Madness as well, about, do you want to start Dell'Orso over Burries? Do you want to start Awaka over Krivas? But I think you're seeing growth with these players in their current roles, and I don't want to mess with that. If I was seeing like stagnation from Dell'Orso, if I was seeing stagnation from Karchenkov, if I was seeing Krivas not doing anything better, I would answer differently. But I think you're seeing so many good things in so many areas from so many guys throughout the course of the season so far, obviously, not necessarily tonight, that I don't really want to mess with it too much.
Yeah, I understand that. And it that does make sense to me. I do think that you are getting a good fire out of Anthony Dell'Orso, and maybe this bench role suits him, right? Like KJ Lewis definitely played better off the bench than he did when he was in the starting lineup last year, and he definitely was one of the 5 best players on the team. Not to say that those are similar players, but I maybe it's a similar situation. Who knows, right? So it really you got great minutes out of your upperclassmen tonight, out of the guys that you figure to have the more experience on the team. And I know Mo Krivas, we just talked about his lack of minutes played, but he is, and has been in this program and in college basketball for a couple years now. And, you look at the people who drove you to victory tonight. It was Jaden Bradely, who's the most experienced player on this team. It was Mo Krivas, who, was doing all the little things, scooping up rebounds, taking advantage of mismatches. It was Anthony Dell'Orso, who, has kind of been considered more of a supplementary piece on this team and, has really, really pushed the envelope to making himself such a forefront thought when it comes to how we're playing offense this season with how he's playing. And honestly, like you mentioned it with the passing ability, I think that is just a completely added wrinkle that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
The shot making is fantastic. He's been better at it. He was already good at it, but he clearly grew that part of his game even more. The passing is just something that he didn't really display last season. And he's taking dudes off the dribble and making reads, Kevin. And it's just like, how do you defend it at that point? And he's making great passes. I love what I'm seeing out of Anthony Dell'Orso. I love what I'm seeing out of the most experienced players on this roster. Now, I don't love what I'm seeing out of the least experienced players on this roster. The freshmen had a rough night tonight, Kevin. Brayden Burries, Koa Peat, even Karchenkov and Dwayne Aristode to lesser extents. But let's talk about those freshmen. Let's do it right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
And I want to talk to you about our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because if you want to party it up after this big old fat W over your rival, there's no better place to do that than our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Because why? Because you do you when you're at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Whether it's their location at Wild Horse Pass, which me and Damon are both veterans of, Lone Butte, Vikiva, my personal local location of Santan Mountain. Experience the best that the Valley has to offer when you partake at Gila River Resorts and Casinos with any of their over 4,500 slots and live table games. You could be there all day, or you could even catch some live podcasts, some live music, some live comedy at any of their showrooms as well. Go big and go home a winner, from upscale to approachable, casual to classy, from bar to bar none. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playagila.com for more details.
You guys already heard the spiel, but let's do it again because we got to talk about our friends over at Branded Bills. They sponsored this episode. They sponsored the watch along. They sponsored the pregame show. We love Branded Bills because they have the ultimate Arizona Wildcats apparel in the game, whether it's the headwear. I know that they're kind of branching more into the t-shirt game, into the hoodie game. But of course, we know that Branded Bills at the end of the day, in their heart of hearts, is a hat company, a headwear company, Kevin. And the campus collection is unbelievable. We've talked about it a lot on this show, but if you guys haven't checked out the campus collection that they have specifically at the Arizona bookstore, they have a lot of options that you can't find anywhere else. You can't even find them on the website. You got to go check them out for yourself. But guys, every time I go to an Arizona sporting event, all I see is Branded Bills hats everywhere I look, and for good reason. They have all the styles, all the designs you could ask for as an Arizona Wildcats fan, whether you're looking for a navy hat, a red hat, a black hat, a gray hat, a white hat, a beige hat, a light blue hat. Kevin, they have every single color variation.
They got them all
that you could possibly want as an Arizona fan.
Did you mention camo?
Camo that even remotely it revolves around Arizona or fits within the Arizona style and branding. They have it. I promise you that. You guys got to go check it out for yourself. Baseball, softball, football, basketball, all designated hats for different sports. Branded Bills has everything on their website. They have all the options. And of course, they have the ultimate custom headwear as well. If you guys need some stuff done for your small business, there's only one place to call. It's Branded Bills. Head to brandedbills.com. Use promo code BBPHNX. Get 15% off your first order. And shout out Branded Bills for sponsoring this podcast.
And a special shout out to every single individual tuned into this podcast right now, because we love the Arizona Wildcats and you love the Arizona Wildcats. And what is better than talking Wildcat hoop with some fellow Wildcats? I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat.
Shout out Hidden Sun Village.
Yes.
Who's
first time popping in the stream.
Yep.
Suns chatter, I believe, judging by the general makeup of that account.
Guy just loves basketball. This is in fact a basketball state when you factor in that the most successful professional team is a basketball team and the most successful collegiate team is a basketball team.
I also say, if you really love basketball, you love all basketball. You don't give a damn who's playing. You don't give a damn what level they're playing at. you just want to see some good basketball. So shout out to everybody that is tuned in tonight to talk some basketball and leave a like on this here podcast and hopefully subscribe to PHNX Sports because Damon and I are doing this 365, folks, covering the Arizona Wildcats day in, day out, night in, night out. Today we had a pregame show, a watch-along show, and this here postgame show. We got you covered. I'm going to write an article about this game after. It's going to be up tonight or in the morning. So just tap in with
stop.
PHNX Sports. Our Arizona Wildcats coverage is off the chain, if I do say so myself, Damon.
Oh, that's really cool. Typically, really cool people say off the chain.
I thought so too. That's why
I might go on a run after this. I'm so fired up right now. And how can you not be fired up after Arizona beats UCLA, of course, 69-65? We'll bring on Saul Bookman here in not too long. Kevin, let's go ahead and look at these numbers, though, first. Sponsored by our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union, of course. Arizona's number one credit union, sponsored by Forbes. Look at these numbers here, Kevin. We got Arizona 47.3% from the field compared to 43.1% for UCLA. On three-pointers, UCLA was 9 for 17. I know that it's been a thing of the past that Tommy Lloyd's three-point defense is not good enough. Even against a team like UCLA who doesn't really shoot it very well, they shoot at a very, very effective percentage here, Kevin, almost 53%. Arizona goes 6 for 19, conversely, with how many of those coming from Anthony Dell'Orso? 4 for 7 of that coming from Dell'Orso. So outside of Dell'Orso, Arizona was 2 for 12 from 3, which needs to improve for sure. 35-28 in the rebounding margin. You beat them in rebounding margin by about 20%. That's great news. Points in the paint, Kevin, something that you highlighted before the game, 38-20 in favor of Arizona, almost doubling them up in points in the paint. And then Stonks, our favorite.
Stonks. Shout out to Juan Serrano, man.
Shout out to Juan Serrano. It's actually Stocks, but I put Stonks. 10-7, Arizona wins that battle because we know when Arizona wins the stock market, they win the basketball game most of the time.
Good things happen.
Yeah. Good little stat graphic there. What's stand out to you, Kevin?
What stood out to me about these stats, Damon, is that Arizona was able to get it done without shooting incredibly efficiently, I would say, from the field for long stretches in this one, right? In the first half, you shoot 29% from 3. And in the second half, you shoot – that can't be right. Potentially, again, 29% for 3. Either way, my point is with this is that Arizona does not shoot very efficiently for long stretches of this game. They still get it done. You got some tough buckets. And I was talking to you at halftime, right, during this one. We were talking about what Arizona is going to have to do to tough this one out because you're only up a bit at the half. It's not like you have full control of this game. What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to make tough shots because UCLA is defending the hell out of you. So the ones you are going to have to make are going to be brutally tough. Arizona was able to do that. Dell'Orso was able to do that. Jaden Bradely with some circus layups down the stretch was able to do that. It feels like you got timely buckets, even though people are going to probably box score watch and look at the 3-point percent in this game and go, Arizona can't shoot, right? But they got timely buckets when it mattered. I know that Brayden Burries and Jaden Bradely missed a couple open threes down the stretch, but JB got it done in other ways. Brayden Burries did not. But yeah, honestly, what stood out to me most, I think points in the paint because you had to win that battle. Total rebounding because you had to win that battle and you did. Offensive rebounding, you had to win that battle and you did. Bench points, you knew Arizona was going to win that battle. They dominated it 28-3. Fast break points, you know UCLA can't score. So I think this box score kind of validates a lot of all of our suspicions about these two teams and their play style coming into this one. Arizona won the points in the paint. They were tougher on the boards. They got out in transition. They forced more turnovers. They got more points off turnovers. So I feel validated with these numbers, Damon. That's how I'm feeling. I feel that my eye test checks out with this game. And yeah, you want to talk about some freshmen. And I think we can kickstart that conversation now. And somebody in the chat earlier, we have a lot of Brayden Burries takes circulating out there in the ether right now in the Arizona fan base. Everything from give him till April, let him grow, be patient, maybe he needs a second year. Right?
Give him till April is insane.
I'm saying that's one end of the spectrum, and then there's some other people that think he just don't got it. He's just not good, right? And the truth, like in everything, if you have two sides of an argument, the truth is usually in the middle, right? And I think right now, Brayden Burries is likely playing the worst basketball of his life against the highest competition he's ever seen in his life. And I don't think that that's necessarily the worst. It's not like a doomsday outcome that a freshman is struggling in November, halfway through November, with teams like Florida and UCLA. Now, I'll hear you that he also hasn't just straight up dominated teams like Utah Tech and NAU, though.
True.
So it has been a struggle for him in all of these games. But he's still finding out what he can do at this level offensively, what's really in his bag. And defensively, he's just trying to keep his head above water. And that's not me poo-pooing him. He's a freshman. It's hard to be a freshman guard and be elite on defense and be even good on defense. It's hard. True. Unless that is your calling card. So I think Brayden Burries, as Brandon says in the chat, he's got it. Now, to what degree he's got it, we can have those kind of conversations, a different day. I think his potential is sky high. I think he has a really good mentality for the game. I think tonight you saw the most aggressive Brayden Burries that we've seen so far this year. I think that's a good thing. I think it shows that his confidence is not waning despite the lack of results. It feels like he trusts in the work. He trusts in the teammates around him. As our favorite dinosaur Raptor says in the chat, he's likely to find his groove soon. And I'm still being patient on Brayden Burries. Although, hey, I understand the concern. You have a 5-star prospect coming in. One of your 5 stars looks like the best player in the country on some nights. Ivan Karchenkov has had his breakout game against Florida. Koa Peat has his breakout game. Dwayne Aristode had his breakout game last time out against NAU, right?
Yeah.
And Brayden Burries has not had a good game, really, yet. And I think that it's okay. It's frustrating. It's underwhelming. You want to jump to conclusions. I wouldn't even necessarily... I can't tell you you're wrong for jumping to conclusions. The guy shot 1 for 9 tonight, But he was more engaged on defense. He wasn't a cone out there, as I said on the watch along. And so, yeah, I think Brayden Burries will be okay. Just got to give him some time. He was never going to be Caleb Love night 1. You know what I mean? He might not be Caleb Love in college ever. But, yeah. Where you at with Burries?
I feel you. I mean, he's being asked to do a lot, right? And we've talked a lot about the Caleb Love role and filling those shoes, right? Because, that's a lot of shots. That's a lot of shot diet, consistent shot diet. And you got to be nails, right? A lot of people don't like Caleb Love.
Yeah.
And that's because of the type of role that he had to play, which is be the volume scorer, have off nights and not let it affect you. Even when you're having a bad game, shooting it like you're having a good game, shooting it like you're on fire, because that's the type of player that needs to do those type of things. Brayden Burries tonight, you saw it, he didn't have it, and then it kind of felt like he didn't want the basketball. He's getting it out on the perimeter. He's pump faking, trying to drive. Immediately, the defense catches up to him, sticks to him, and his drive is not getting him more open than he was when he caught the basketball in the pocket.
He's driving
and
into
had
trees.
A fluid shot, right? I think he's overdoing it in that sense. He's like, oh, my shot's not working. Maybe I can get a layup by making them think I'm not going to take this shot. And it's like, no, man, you got to just kind of trust it, right? You got to just kind of trust the process and let it unfold. I think Brayden Burries is going to be fine. But as Lost Highway puts in the chat, this is the type of situation where is he how is he a one and done type of player if he's going to play like this? He hasn't looked good to start this entire season. And that's not to say that he won't. I still believe. I really do. And, to play devil's advocate against myself and my Anthony Dell'Orso needs to start take, we're in a spot of the season right now where these games are ultimately unimportant. Right? They matter for seeding, but it's not going to end your season. It's not going to cook you. What will is Brayden Burries playing like that all season long because you bench him or you mess with his confidence or you start, kind of phasing him out of the game plan as much. But you need him to go like this and peak in March and be right here in March. How do you get that to happen? You allow him to play through these mistakes. You allow him to be himself. I think that Yeah, I'm concerned for sure. And I'm going to be monitoring how Brayden Burries is playing for, the foreseeable future until he proves me otherwise. But I also still believe in Tommy Lloyd. I believe in the talent, and I think that he's going to find a way to be a positive contributor to this team. But tonight, he absolutely was not that. 1 of 9 shooting, 5 points, 3 turnovers, as many turnovers as assists. Just not a good game, man. Just not a good game from Brayden Burries.
You mentioned his draft stock potentially being like cooked in a sense of him no longer being able to break into the lottery. I tend to agree, but I counter with this. How many players have we seen go from like late first to like 20s, maybe 15 to 12 with like an explosive March, like with an explosive tournament?
100%.
If Brayden Burries can get a hold of it by middle of conference play, he has all year to make it. The story is yet to be written for Brayden Burries. And I think it's hard to say that, he's played himself out of the lottery already in November when, he's played in 4 games. I think that we got to give him more time, but I do think that you are correct in that if this continues, you are looking at like year 2 Brayden Burries. Like, is that a real possibility? Or is that something that is on the cards? Is that something that is in the cards, I should say? But yeah, I'm trying not to overreact really to Brayden Burries. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He seems immensely talented. He seems like a high IQ player. I think what we're identifying with him going for pump fakes and driving into the trees, getting into some contested layup situations that maybe aren't super high percentage shots.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, it's part of him problem solving, man. Like I said it earlier, I think he's still trying to get used to what his bag looks like in college. Every freshman has to go through that process, right? Only the elite of the elite type freshmen come right in with half their tools working in their toolkit. A lot of freshmen, if you listen to players that have played at that level, tell you that when they get to college, you got to throw all that stuff you were doing in high school out. You got to completely restart your game. And I think Brayden Burries is saying, okay, my shot's not working. How can I impact winning? What's the traditional thing to do? Get downhill. Was it the right moment for him to do that in some of those chances? No, but he can figure that out. I like that he's at least problem solving and he's not just catch it, shoot it. Oh, I missed it. Catch it, shoot it. He's at least trying to find ways to get into a rhythm, get downhill, maybe get to the free throw line, maybe see a couple go down. So yes, you and I both said that on the watch along. Like, damn, I wish he would shoot some of those open ones instead of just driving into the 3 UCLA guys packed into the paint. But ultimately, he is trying to problem solve. And I like that, especially from a guard. So hopefully his shot starts falling. We have some people in the chat kind of questioning whether his shot will ever start falling or whether or not it's broken in general.
Well, I kind of, if I'm playing doomsday mode a little bit, and I will for a second, when I do watch Brayden Burries, I agree with Lion X. From what I've seen so far, scroll up a tiny bit. I'll get his wording exactly right. He hasn't been explosive. He hasn't looked like an explosive athlete at all. I think we knew that about Brayden Burries going in to the year, because otherwise he would be a, blue chip first round pick, lottery pick guy immediately. But the bigger concern for me is that he's not creating his own shot.
Yeah.
I knew about the athleticism going in. The bigger concern for me is I'm not seeing him off the dribble, like creating separation from guys or getting in the lane to shoot floaters, getting putting his shoulder on somebody and leveraging it to, kind of do the Jaden Bradely, pushing him that way and then crossing him over back and shooting a mid-range jumper, right? Like, I don't know why I said mid-range like that, but mid-range. But at the same time, like, it's just, I just need him to show a little bit more shot creation ability. Honestly, that's what's concerning me the most is I haven't seen that. The 1 for 9 is concerning in and of itself, but if I like the shots, I can live with it. I didn't like the shots.
Yeah.
We're going to get our guy Saul Bookman in here very shortly, and he's going to give us his takes on these freshmen tonight. But before we do, real quick, let's talk Koa Peat for a quick second before we get Saul in here. What were kind of your thoughts on Koa's game tonight? I think obviously we expect a lot out of Koa Peat in particular, and he didn't have a good game either, right? He only scored 7 points. He went 2 for 5 from the field, 3 or 4 from the free throw line. At one point, I think he had like 7 points with like 16 minutes to go in the second half. Like, he didn't have a small amount of points, and then it just felt like he kind of wasn't really taking a lot of shots. He was in some foul trouble, a couple not so good calls against Koa Peat, but yeah, man. I mean, he didn't have a good game tonight either. It's encouraging that Arizona can win this game without those guys doing what they need to do, but it's starting to feel like maybe the people like Field of 68 who are saying, you know what, like, this team is really good, they're really talented, but can you trust freshmen to be consistent all the time? Were they right?
I think, like, and this is kind of what I was gonna. My answer to your first question also doubles as my answer to your second question. This was Koa Peat's first experience at the college level where the opposing coach's game plan. What do you think Mick Cronin's game plan was coming into this one? Hey, front court, beat the hell out of that guy. He's not beating us tonight. I'm not letting this freshman walk into my building and out-tough you, Eric Daly. I'm not letting this freshman walk into my building and out-tough you, Xavier Book. That's what Mick Cronin's doing before this game. He's telling his guys, go beat him up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's telling them to play dirty, although Mick Cronin would. But I think that is the game plan, to play overtly physical, double him, send help on the double that turns into a triple, and maybe he makes a turnover like he did with that absurd pass across the court and out of bounds into San Bernardino. But, like,
yeah,
I'm not too worried about Koa Peat. We've seen him dominate some of the highest caliber front court in the country. I think that this was a unique situation. You're playing UCLA. It's a slugfest. It's a bloodbath. It's a brawl. And this was his first brawl with UCLA.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like we talked about it earlier. When they're saying, can we trust the freshman? I think that Koa Peat is a freshman you can trust, right? However, in these tough games, it should never be, unless you have like a Koa Peat or like a Cooper Flagg or an AJ DeBounce or one of these truly highly coveted 5-stars, it should never be them carrying you past like a UCLA. You need your Jaden Bradleys, you need your Anthony Dell'Orsos, your Krivoses, your Awakas to get you to the finish line. And if you get some supplementary support from guys like Koa Peat and Brayden Burries, that's a nice cherry on top. So I'm not worried about Koa Peat's performance tonight. The fouls, not the best, but it's a very physical game. And the turnovers, not the best, but they were sending some crazy coverages at him.
Counterpoint, JKB says it here. It's been 4 games. You can't even have a take. You can't have a take on anything that's happened, Kevin? It's only been 4 games. We should
wasn't your question to me?
We should just actually sit here in silence and not ask questions about things that happened on the floor because it's only been 4 games. I didn't even have a take on the matter. I just asked you, should we be concerned? And people are upset with that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I said no concern.
We do a post-game show after every one of these things. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, 67, a million games. I'm going to be able to talk about exactly whatever happens because that's what my job is, to talk about the game that just happened. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's do another break here. Let's bring in Saul Bookman on the AZ Wildcats pod, and let's break down what he saw, boots on the ground in Los Angeles at this game.
I'm excited to see Saul, and I think he knows that is true. But I'm more excited after this game and after I get off of work today to stop by Circle K, because what do I need? Some refreshments. I could use some peanut butter stuffed pretzels. I could use some gas in my car. I could use maybe an energy drink or 2. I could maybe even use a trip to the beer cave for unwinding time at home. Circle K is truly America's thirst stop. It is like your all-in-one gas palace, I'll say. Right? You have deals on snacks when you're in the inner circle, like me and like Damon. If you want to get in that inner circle, join the inner circle for free by downloading the Circle K app right now today. Terms and conditions apply. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details. You're wondering, what are some of the benefits? 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. 3 cents off per gallon on every single fill-up after that until you graduate into that 5 cents off per gallon, and you get 5 cents off per gallon unless it's Thursday, November 20th. Next Thursday, fully registered Inner Circle members can enjoy 40 cents off at participating Circle K locations across the great freedom state of Arizona. All you have to do is enter your phone number at the pump to enjoy all of the yummy, yummy savings. Shout out to Circle K.
Yummy, yummy savings indeed, for sure. Download that Circle K app. I had actually a Circle K stop on my way in here. Gassed up the vehicle before the gas light even came on, Kevin. You'd be proud. Haven't done that in legitimately maybe like years. And then, of course, stopped in, got myself an energy fix with a Inner Circle deal. No joke. That's real. I saved $2 off by getting 2 Nosses, I believe, which is a diabolical move. I agree. Lock me up, put me in cuffs, take me out to pasture. But also, I do want to talk to about our friends over at Husband and Wife Law Team. Guys, if you have been injured if you have a serious injury that you need some help from a legal standpoint with, there's no better people to call than the Husband and Wife Law Team, whether it's Mark and Alexis Breyer. They are the experts when it comes to injury law or wrongful death here in the state of Arizona. Kevin always says it. There is a threshold to reach, when it comes to injury lawsuits where there are experts, right? There are experts in the field, just like, Kevin Thomas and Saul Bookman are experts on the sport of basketball. Mark and Alexis are experts on injury law. They're in that 1%. Which, it's always like, it sounds, like it's actually less than 1%. It sounds like that's like a made up number, but it's the truth. There in Arizona, the state bar has certified less than 1% of all lawyers as specialists in injury and wrongful death litigation. And of course, the Husband and Wife Law Team are included in that less than 1%. Guys, if you have a wrongful death or injury lawsuit that you need handled, hit up the Husband and Wife Law Team. They're always available to you. This is not like a corporation where, you're going to call, you're going to get some front desk person. They're going to try to see if they can fit it into the lawyer's schedule at some point that day, might hit you up tomorrow. No, Mark and Alexis are going to take a very personal approach to your case. They're going to be able to be on the phone with you. Their lawyers, their team are going to call you night and day. You have any questions, you hit them up. And of course, hit up this phone number, 602-783-8841. That is the phone number to call, or their website, husbandandwifelawteam.com. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team, like I said, at 602-783-8841, or visit the website link in our show notes and tell them that PHNX sent you.
We are bringing in live from the Intuit Dome, one Saul Bookman. Saul, how are we doing tonight? I mean, I want to say that place looks massive on my preview side that I can see on the back end. It looks crazy.
It's probably one of the coolest places I've ever seen a game at from a technological standpoint. It's pretty impressive.
Saul, I did want to get to the actual game tonight, right? But me and Damon were having a conversation at halftime that our friend in the chat, Joseph Gastelum, brought up in the ad break, saying, UConn is next. We really playing all the crazy coaches. And this is a question I specifically wanted to broach and approach with you, Saul, on this here post-game. How big is it that Arizona, and specifically Arizona's freshmen, are getting the taste of a Mick Cronin, a Todd Golden, a Nate Oates, a Danny Hurley, all before you even get to conference play? Do you think, and I have an inclination that you do think, so to what extent is that going to pay dividends for Arizona throughout the course of this season, having so many looks at some of the best chess masters in the sport?
I mean, they're getting baptized. That's just what it is, man. Like, it's baptism by fire. Listen, like, when you look at Koa Peat tonight and you see what happened to him, it's because UCLA specifically prepared for Koa Peat, which we knew was going to happen. And it's going to be an adjustment. Like, to expect him to drop 30 again tonight is unreasonable, especially when you see teams actually scout for what he's going to do. There was nothing leading up to that Florida game for Florida to really scout. And so now they got tape on Florida. UCLA used it to their advantage. They sent doubles. Every time Koa spun, they were there, and they tried to force the ball out of his hands. There was a couple times where he was able to get off, but that and foul trouble and some really, really weak calls against Koa Peat tonight kind of took him out of it. Brayden Burries, hey, that's the second game in a row where he's 1 for 8 from the field, and you need him to pick it up. But that's going to happen. That's going to happen. You have to expect that. Now, Brayden, I'm a little bit more concerned about than Koa, because that's 2 games now against premier competition where he's kind of not rose up to that level that you need him to. But UConn is another match, and it's another opportunity. And Brayden's got a lot of confidence in himself, and I think he'll continue that confidence moving forward. And Tommy kind of spoke about that in the postgame presser about, how you can't expect freshmen are a wild card until you get about halfway through the year. You just got to expect that. And they got to get weathered. They got to go through the storm. When UCLA is making the run tonight, it felt like a home court advantage, and they have to experience that before they get to Big 12 play. So I'm glad it happened.
Saul, I understand that you do have some clips from this press conference, and I do want to get to those. Our king of the court tonight was one Anthony Dell'Orso for the performance that he put in, pretty much carrying Arizona through large stretches of this game offensively with his timely, tough shot making. What were your takeaways from Anthony Dell'Orso, and also what were some of the clips that you got from the presser? I believe we have ADO on his coach.
First, ADO, if it weren't for ADO, Arizona loses tonight, because if he doesn't do what he does in the first half to carry them to get to half, they would have been, they'd have been out of it. His second half, he hits that clutch three to take him up by one. Him and Jaden Bradely score the last, I think, 20 points of the game collectively, or 19 points of the game collectively between those two. They were fantastic. And that's senior leadership. And the clip that I have of Deli is him just talking about Coach Lloyd's confidence in him, despite the fact that he's coming off the bench. That didn't really mean anything. I've always said, it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes. And Anthony Dell'Orso finished the game tonight. And this is what he had to say about Tommy Lloyd's confidence.
It gives you the ultimate confidence to go out there and play your game, and if things go good, it's good. If things go bad, he's got you no matter what. So that gives me ultimate confidence, and I think he does that to a lot of our guys, and that just makes us go down the stretch with that building confidence that we can perform and execute and get the win like tonight.
We talked about Dell'Orso's level of confidence specifically tonight, Saul. It feels like that move to the bench has really lit a fire under him and really made him kind of, for lack of a better phrase, dial it in, lock in, and try to prove that he deserves that spot back. Do you feel the same? And what were kind of some of your takeaways from his presser clip there?
I feel like it started after last season. I think ADO, when you looked at the tape and you looked at the whole last year, I think he was. I'll tell you this, from my perspective, and not hearing anything that he said, I'm 1,000,000% confident that he looked at that tape and was like, I am not going to be the scapegoat on defense anymore. I'm not going to be the one that they attack continuously, mouse in the house, so to speak, or the pigeon. I'm not going to be that dude anymore. And on the defensive side, he's no longer a pigeon. He's not somebody that you could just completely take advantage of at every single turn. Is he like an elite defender? No, he's not. But he's much better than he was last year. Much, much better. And I think that the size that he's put on, and listen, man, there's something about the beard that just makes, hey, it's just, it kind of roughens you up, it kind of toughens you up, man. And he just played big. He's chopping down wood out here like a lumberjack. That's what he does.
I love it. Saul, also another guy kind of just simply chopping wood, showing up to work every day, trying to get better, is Mo Krivas. Now, this specific podcast has not been short on critiques of one Mo Krivas, but it's not out of hate. It's out of desire to see him maximize what we believe he could be as a basketball player. Saul, first of all, what did you see from Mo Krivas tonight? And I do believe we have a clip from Tommy Lloyd talking about Mo as well.
Yeah, we do. And we could play the clip, and then I'll tell you what I saw from Mo Krivas tonight. So why don't we just get to the clip?
Well, I mean, I think Mo, and I don't want to say he's just scratching the surface, but I think, that there's some merit to that statement. He's really going to impact the game. He's starting to impact the game defensively. He's starting to impact the game on the glass. You felt his size out there tonight. He kind of got a few jump hooks in there at the start of the second half, and he's really good at that. We got to get a little more adept at finding him, on some of those post ups and in really utilizing that as a weapon within our offense.
So I think this is where people are going to miss the mark about Arizona. They're going to look at them on the surface and say they're really good, but they got freshmen that are leading them. Time out. They're really good, and they have two two wild cards right now in Mo Krivas, who's returning from an injury, and Dwayne Aristode, who's also a freshman, but also returning from an injury, right? Those two guys are only going to get better as the season goes along, in addition to the freshmen. Now, what you hope is when you're struggling, but you're close, you just need to be close, that down the stretch, your senior leadership will take over and do what they did exactly tonight. Tonight was probably the best example of how you cannot rely on freshmen completely, but as long as you play competitively, stay within yourself, and don't throw the game away, and you keep it close down the stretch, your seniors should be able to take over down the stretch. And when you have a guy like Awaka, when you have Krivas, you have Bradley, and you have Dell'Orso, four guys that are veterans that can lead you down the stretch, you're going to be in a lot of games, and you're going to win a lot of games. Case in point tonight. I just thought that overall, Mo did exactly what we talked about on the Mikhail Madness podcast yesterday, was that, yeah, against the smaller teams like Embry-Riddle, St. Mary's, what have you, did he play the greatest? Actually, against St. Mary's he did, but against Embry-Riddle, Utah Tech, and NAU, did he play the greatest? No. Do you think he should have dominated more because you have a bunch of, smaller guys around you? Yeah, but he didn't. But he did play solid against Florida. He didn't do anything egregious to blow you the game. He played solid defensively. You had to account for him. Tonight, much of the same. And I'll tell you what, I think that they could have fed him a little bit more in that second half to start anyway, because he got a couple buckets, and you could tell he was starting to feel pretty good about himself. I would like to see them start to feature him more, but that comes with confidence. And that confidence has taken a little bit for his teammates to kind of build within him. And the nights like tonight go a very, very long way into establishing that for the entire group.
Yeah, I loved what I saw from Krivas tonight, whether it was, the rebounding and working hard for every board, especially offensively, just getting in the muck. But also, he just was a presence at the rim too. From a defensive standpoint, a guy like Donovan Dent, listen, I've made a lot about how, you're not going to just transition from the Mountain West to playing big boy college basketball and everything's going to look exactly the same. Donovan Dent was treating Mo Krivas like he was a Mountain West big man tonight. The way he was driving into him, the way he was trying to, take contested layups against him, like that just wasn't going to happen, man. It wasn't going to happen. And Mo Krivas is finding ways to impact the game in small senses as well. It's not like, it doesn't need to be all the loud dunks. It just needs to be like, be in position, do the right thing. And I feel like Mo Krivas is really improving game by game as we're seeing.
There's two things about Krivas and Awaka that I think a lot of people might overlook tonight. Their defense on the perimeter was outstanding. The pick and roll defense, there was multiple times where UCLA went horns, which for those of you who don't know what horns is, that means you got two bigs that are starting off roughly elbow line extended near the 3-point line, kind of in between. And that's where they start their action. And they do that so that way they can get the bigs involved in having to move and guard guards. And they did that almost flawlessly. There was very few times where UCLA was able to get what they wanted out of those actions because the bigs were too slow to recover. That didn't really happen at all tonight. And that's just such a remarkable feat for a guy like Krivas, who isn't the most nimble guy. But I'll tell you what, he's got sneaky athleticism, just like Toby Awaka does. Toby was fantastic on the perimeter. I can't say more things about that. But both of them were terrific defensively. And we always think about the block shots and the down low post defense. But man, that perimeter pick and roll defense was elite, especially when you're a team that likes to play man to man and switch a lot. You have to have bigs that are solid and nimble enough to be out on the perimeter just to hedge and recover, so that way the guards can get back to where they need to be. And they both did that fantastically tonight. And I think that was a large reason why they stayed in this game, because defensively those guards could not get downhill and get to the rack. And when you see a guy like Donovan Dent shoot the way he did tonight, that's a large reason why.
Yeah, I love that point from you, Saul, especially about the perimeter defense of Krivas. I believe I mentioned that like once on the watch along, not like in a long, very intelligent way like you just did, but I kind of just saw Krivas jump out on the perimeter with some real like urgency, I'll say. Really got in the stance, got out there, closed out on his man, got back a little bit, made sure he was defending the pass as well. He was just solid in every area tonight. Yeah. And we talked about how he's played way less minutes than maybe some Arizona fans, including myself, might assume he's played in college basketball because of the time he spent away from the game. but it kind of feels like he's shaking all the rust off and really becoming a player that can help you in these games. And we talked about it earlier, and I'll cue you up to kind of talk about it a little bit some more. He steps up when you need him. He kind of steps up. And I think that as he improves and as you enter Big 12 play, we could kind of see the Krivas that Tommy Lloyd advertised in a lot of ways. Do you see that the same way?
Yeah, I think he's only going to get better. Again, I want him to play strong. That's all I want him to do. And I think against
Strong
these
like
tweener
ox.
teams, yeah, strong like bull.
That's what it is.
When we're playing these tweener teams, I think he has a tendency to play a little soft, not play up to the level that I think he's capable of. But when this is 2 games now against 2 dogs of 2 dogs in Florida and UCLA, and he's played admirably. Like I think he's played strong. He's played confident. Offensively, he's starting to get it. He's starting to get a little bit into a flow. And I think, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to be All-American, All Big 12 or anything like that, but you don't need him to be. You just need him to be solid. That's
I don't know who said it in the chat earlier, but shout out to, I believe it was Grayson Vanderland. Yes, Mo has a role, and he plays his role well. And he's only he's going from playing his role well to being a star in his role. Not saying he's a star on the team, but he's a star in his role, potentially, if he continues to grow in this way.
If Mo continues to flow, he's going to grow his role some more. There you go.
I mean, we got bars being spit on the AZ Wildcats pod, and that's how you know we should get to the next clip, because he ain't topping that. I can tell you that much. Saul, mini Mick Cronin witnessed what Jaden Bradely can really do tonight. He witnessed what Jaden Bradely is truly capable of. And I believe we have some words from Mick Cronin. Do you want to set those up for us?
I mean, he was a little frustrated about all the layup attempts that Jaden was getting down the stretch. And then the fact that, like, the one time where the defense didn't want to rotate because they were like, we don't want to give up the layup, Jaden was like, oh, I'm going to hit this 3 then. So that's basically what he says in this clip.
They can shoot layups. The guy's a hell of a player. He definitely ain't going to miss layups. And then we didn't rotate to him on a perimeter pass. I mean, literally the whole stadium was wondering, is anybody going to rotate to him? He wanted to drive it. He was waiting. Is anybody going to rotate? I'm going to go down the lane and shoot a layup because he's a smart player, great player. But nobody rotated.
We talked a lot about.
Dude, listen, I know there's a lot of Mick Cronin haters out there. And listen, I think when he goes on these tangents, I think, I'm not a big fan of him. But this is 2 years in a row that I've heard him in the postgame presser, and 2 years in a row where I just like that he's just so matter of fact, like, bro, like, the dude's legit. Why are we not guarding him? Anybody want to guard him? Hell, grandma in the 88th row in the wall was sitting there talking about rotate. No rotation, buckets. That's what Jaden Bradely does to your team.
Nothing better than beating the Mick Cronin team and then watching the press conference after. Genuinely, nothing better. Damon likes to talk about hate watches when we watch ASU sports, and I'm all the way with him on that. There's feelings that only illicit drugs can rival in terms of hate watching your rival and seeing them lose. However, beating your rival and having your team or that team have a coach that is so insufferable that you know you're going to get some gems in the presser, I'm all about it. So I cannot wait to sit at home and digest that a little bit later on tonight. Saul, did you have any other takeaways from the beautiful Intuit Dome for us tonight?
No, listen, the strobe lighting was amazing. They have this game where all the seats light up and you gotta guess the color, and it's so interactive. Like, this is probably one of the most interactive arenas I've ever been a part of. Fantastic venue. I think it's great. You don't even have to pull out your phone if you want to go inside and get food. It just got facial recognition scanning. You walk in, you grab your stuff, it automatically charges your card like they know who you are. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. It's so dope. But more importantly, what the people really want to hear is, I thought Arizona had a really rough game overall. I didn't think that they played the prettiest. I think a lot of their key players kind of fell short to some degree, but everybody had a moment in this game to where they contributed to the bottom line. And I think that's really what you want for the whole, because this was a very much like a March Madness type of feel where you just are not in sync. You're playing a team that's a little funky with their schemes and physicality, and it just throws you off enough. And the ebbs and flows of that, you got to battle through. And Arizona showed that they had the talent to do so. Also, one last thing, I do want to say this is the debut, just so you know. Shout out to my wife for being a trooper. She's been with me all day, and she had to sit through the most boring college basketball game you could ever imagine with USC and Illinois State beforehand. And she sat there like a trooper, just, sucking it up. She's a Wildcat, so she liked the game. But shout out to my baby right there for being the homie tonight. I do appreciate her.
At least she gets to go to Disneyland as payment, no?
Absolutely.
It's not that unfair of a trade. You're kind of acting like you're just about to pack it up and go home and take care of the kid and catch up with him. No, Saul. You know damn well what you're about to get into, and it's a bunch of fun at Disneyland.
Bro probably has a warm, cozy bed at the Grand California waiting for him. just the nicest Disneyland trip you possibly could imagine.
Listen, a Wildcat win in Disney, who doesn't love that? And yeah, I mean, again, like, you know how it is. If you had to go sit and watch your wife work, hey, all right, for like 5 hours, oh man, this is brutal. No matter how much you love your team, right? And so,
yeah.
But yes, the bank account will be depleted tomorrow when we go to Disney. I promise you that.
One last question for you, Saul, before we get out of here. We did have some conversation about what the stadium would look like tonight, the arena, from a fan perspective. It sounded like, especially early when UCLA was getting out to a run, that UCLA fans were getting into it. I know that they had a bit of a student section going, which obviously Arizona can't really match, given that we're not in that city. But then you heard some U of A chants going, right? So
yeah. What
was kind of the crowd split, and how would you talk about UCLA fans versus Arizona fans in this one?
I would say 55-45 or 60-40 in favor of UCLA, slightly. Yeah, they had the student section. They took up the wall. They were lively, like they were UCLA fans. But I will say this, I think overall, like, this is what college basketball is all about. I think both fan bases respect the hell out of each other because of all the wars we've all been through together. I think both fan bases want this rivalry to continue and this matchup to continue in the future. And I didn't feel like it was extremely disrespectful either way. And so I thought it was great. I thought it was a great environment. It was loud. I thought Arizona fans were plenty loud. I thought they showed up in droves. And UCLA fans, hey, they got the home court advantage. But it was kind of like, no, it wasn't like last year because we dominated last year. We had so many people there last year versus what they had. So, no, it was a great crowd. But listen, if it's 60-40 or 55-45, yeah, you lose UCLA because it should never be like that. Not in your own backyard.
Sounds like a great college basketball environment. Of course, Saul Bookman is going to be with you every step of the way all throughout this Arizona basketball season. Is anyone more boots on the ground than Saul Bookman? I'm not sure that there is. Honestly, I really am not. But of course, follow Saul at Saul_Bookman on all social media.
I will say, Bruce Pascoe, okay, Jason Shear.
Yeah,
those are the two guys that have been with me every step of the way so far. But Provo's coming, baby. I can't wait for Provo, baby. I can't wait.
Are you the first person to have ever said that sentence?
Let's go, baby.
I can't wait for Provo, baby.
No, that sounds electric. I would fit me in your suitcase, Saul.
Dude, I heard that arena is pretty dope. So,
I'm saying the basketball, yes. But I don't think anyone's ever looked at Provo and been like, I can't wait to go there and be in bed by 7 p.m.
True, very true. But listen, Allegiant will get you there for $19 round trip. So I don't know what you guys are doing.
Okay, Allegiant. Okay.
We might have to make some last-second decisions here, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing Saul's kind of keeping the recipes from us. You know,
talking me into it all of a sudden.
He's cooking up grandmaster dishes and not giving none of the recipes. What is that secret spice, Saul? Is it ginger? Is it pumpkin spice? What is it?
It's called age. That's what it's called.
Of course, like I said, throw my guy Saul Bookman a follow, Saul_Bookman. And Saul, thank you so much for your continued great coverage of this team. Safe travels back to Arizona and enjoy Disneyland tomorrow.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate y'all. See you.
He, of course, is Saul Bookman. We are the AZ Wildcats podcast. We got to get to some super chats before we get out of here, Kevin, because apologies to the people here who have sent super chats that we haven't gotten to. Big game. We should have hit these a lot earlier.
Yeah,
Lost Highway,
that's on us. Hand up.
$4.99. I know he's still here in the chat with the first overall pick in the NBA draft. The Brooklyn Nets select Anthony Dell'Orso, Arizona. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Melbourne, Australia.
Stand up, Melly. Delhi from the Melly.
Shout out Lost Highway, who I was telling Kevin off air is might be day one.
OG.
The OG of this entire show. Like you see it's the Drake meme. You see all this? You see what we created? We made this. This is what we did. Lost Highway is a part of that with this crew.
AZ Catch G's in that.
AZ Catch G's in that. Let's just get to AZ Catch G's super chat then. $5. Hey. Fun listening to you guys during the game, at the game. Have a good night. Keep up the good work. That's my GOAT. Wherever the Arizona Wildcats are, that's where AZ Catch G is. It wouldn't shock me to hear. Remember when Tommy Lloyd and the team went on that trip in Barcelona a couple years ago?
Barcelona?
Barcelona. I apologize. It wouldn't shock me if AZ Catch G was somehow just on the team playing. Even when they go overseas, he's right there with them. Shout out AZ Catch G, as always, my guy. Norin Rudin, ball knower Norin, $9.99. So generous, my guy. Thank you so much. Upperclassmen showed the Young Bucks how it's done. ADO, JB, Krivas, and Awaka were huge.
I mean, my reaction was that of a child that is on a multiple choice test and did not finish the sentence. I got caught up on upper class, and I thought Norin was about to get into some classism on the AZ Wildcats pod.
Wow.
I know. I was like, whoa, what are we doing? But yes, no, I'm all about it. You are right. Ball knower Norin, always with the super chats. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the $9.99 super chat.
And so true, too. I mean, those guys were definitely the key cogs, those four in the W tonight. Yes. And, you didn't get it from your freshmen. But the fact that Arizona has played 2 games against premier teams and they haven't necessarily played their basketball in either one, but you're still undefeated, you're still top 5. I mean, you almost couldn't write it better, right? From a basketball sicko standpoint, like a guy like Tommy Lloyd is, I'm sure that being undefeated while still having a lot to work on is probably the best case scenario.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
You're sitting there going like this, and you're watching the film being like, oh my God, we can be so much better than what we've already showed.
And that's what I was saying earlier tonight about how the freshmen get valuable experience.
Yeah.
Inexplicably valuable experience against a team like UCLA and the caliber of coaching that they have and the caliber of physicality. Not only do they get that experience, and they kind of get spanked for it. Koa Peat had a rough night. Brayden Burries had a rough night. Karchenkov Aristode had a bit of a rough night. They got spanked for it, but they got the W. And you escaped with a win. And you remain undefeated. And you don't have to have some stench of UCLA having 2 years in a row derailed your season in a way. So, massive victory. Cannot be any happier about it unless they went out there and absolutely just beat the hell out of them. But I think you learn a lot less about this team in that kind of a game. We learned a lot about the Arizona Wildcats tonight. Steve Martinez, eager to learn from your super chat. ADO was in beast mode. Now we need to beat Cincinnati tomorrow. What? You were doing this? What a week it has been to be an Arizona Wildcat. Becky Burke is hooping. Brent Brennan is hooping. Brayden. Well, I wanted all the BBs to be hooping, man.
Not Brayden Burries.
Well, he's playing. Brayden Burries is playing on a winning team.
He plays basketball.
Playing on an undefeated team. He's starting for an undefeated team. Yes. I love being an Arizona Wildcat. I know Damon does too, and I know all of you in this chat do as well. What a week. What a game. What a mighty good game. And also ASU does suck. They lost to Gonzaga. Shocker.
Oh, Kevin, they didn't cover. I held on until right now. I don't know if you saw me. There's a portion of the show, if you guys want to go back and find it. I think Saul was still with us and the game went dead. It didn't actually go dead, but Kevin, there was a foul on Graham Ike with 14 seconds left.
I was also hate watching.
The cover was live.
Yeah, it was.
And then Graham Ike fouls a garbage time ASU player. He goes up and nails both free throws and the backdoor cover happens for ASU, and I went like this live on air. Just, I had entirely too much money on Gonzaga spread, and Vegas does it again.
No,
knowing the exact total that it was going to land on.
It's almost like there's multiple.
Unbelievable.
It's almost like there's multiple scandals in almost every major sport right now relating to gambling. I wonder what's going on with that. But that's neither here nor there.
You're going to win the first half by 13 when you're a 13.5 point spread, and then you're going to lose the second half by 1?
Ugh, gross.
How about win by 2?
Gross.
Cash
Not
everything.
good. Not good.
What a disaster.
Yeah.
Got to win it all back on football tomorrow, I guess. Of course, we'll be live for a pregame show 30 minutes prior to Arizona's kickoff with Cincinnati, which, Kevin, last time I checked, it's at 9:30 a.m.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
We do have to get out of here. Kevin and I are going to be live again at 9:30 a.m. because no one is as big of a sicko as these two sickos right here on this channel who just can't get enough of Arizona Wildcats coverage, of course. It would be nothing without you guys in the chat making it so fun. The coverage tonight, the support tonight has been out of this world. Kevin and I are, it means everything to us. It well and truly does. Ernesto says it all started with Otani. Respect for the essentially 24/7 podcast today.
Especially you, Damon,
for the post-game show.
Shout out to that guy. Not many people doing what Damon and I do work harder than that guy. He works very hard. He worked very hard today. So shout out to Damon Dog.
Appreciate you, Kevin. I do it for the people here in this chat, and I do it, of course, for my benevolent co-host who lets me do things like go to Denver and party with my friends in Boulder while he does all of our post-game coverage by himself. So appreciate you, Kevin. Appreciate everybody in this chat. Like I said, you guys are family to us. Truly love you guys. And, shout out the super chatters tonight. Shout out the supporting club members. You guys are truly the best. Shout out Max, by the way, who we didn't mention.
Another OG.
Dude, Max, you didn't even say anything, and credit to you for being, I make a joke, we're the most humble podcast here in America. You might be the most humble YouTube chatter of all time because we were doing pregame predictions for score before the game, and sir, as a joke, you decided Arizona was going to win 69-67 as a joke. Everybody do me a favor, peek in that top right corner of this channel and look at what the final score was.
He was one garbage time bucket away.
My guy was one bucket from UCLA away.
One Donovan Dent floater away.
Nailing the score prediction. Unreal. Man. Max. Unreal. Shout out, Max. Shout out everybody here who supported all night long with our coverage. It means the world to us. Didn't start off so great with the Cameron Williams commitment to Duke, but it ended great with Arizona getting the W against UCLA. And Kevin, may I just say, all hail the Magic headband. All hail the Magic headband because Arizona was not playing good basketball. I threw this bad boy on. Late.
Right before JB started going off.
And all of a sudden, the Arizona Wildcats win the game. We might have to frame it, guys. We might have to frame it. It means everything.
When we cut nets because of that headband, we're going to have to put it in the Hall of Fame.
As Bill Gaines said, or Bill Gons, we're going to have to, get an account started for that headband as we go into the future here. Appreciate everybody for watching this episode. We'll be back pregame tomorrow, 9:30, and, of course, postgame after Arizona plays Cincinnati. Be there for that. I'm at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. He's at Kevo Post. That's KEVOPOSTS. And we are at PHNX_Wildcats on all socials, except for TikTok. We're at AZ Wildcats Pod. Appreciate everybody for being here. Appreciate Anthony Dell'Orso for carrying that first half. Appreciate Jaden Bradely for making me right about Donovan Dent afterwards. And appreciate Tommy Lloyd for not being Mick Cronin. That's all. That's simply it. Thank you for not being Mick Cronin. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to the chat. And, thank you to, I guess, the basketball gods for allowing us to win this game versus UCLA and get a win in the premier basketball rivalry in the West. Love you guys. See you tomorrow on Cincinnati pregame and postgame. And until next time, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Thank goodness we beat the Bruins. And thank you for your contributions to this victory. Evan Pryor of Cincinnati.
We all silly like the mayor.